Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Speletons. I'm
Don't
Zinker.
forget to start your timer.
He's Derek. No, I remembered this time. Derek was having some weird butterfly effect argument that we continued last episode. So check it out to figure out what he's talking about. Derek,
It's not.
propose
I
your
don't think it's an
hypothetical.
argument. I'm just.
Arguing.
I don't think it's an argument. I was just proposing a conversation topic. Really.
All right, yeah. Well, I mean, aren't all conversations really just arguments?
I think it's an argument when you're both on opposing sides. I really didn't have a side to this. I was just trying to. The only thing I've been doing is just trying to bring up the counterpoint to. I've been trying to keep in mind the counterpoint. I'm not saying of like what could happen. The question I was saying is you can go back in time once. So it wasn't a hypothetical really. It's just in the specific scenario of that I described last episode of you weren't invited to a wedding and you're going back in time to get yourself into that wedding for whatever reason, because you need to storm in and scream to the bride as she's about to be married that you love her, and you need to ruin the whole wedding for everybody and make it awkward for everyone in that room.
Right. That was my dream. Ruin someone's wedding?
And
anyhow,
it's when you think about it, I think about this now whenever I see like scenes where like someone's like running in on a wedding, unless it's like one person like clearly just didn't want to be there, like Fiona in Shrek.
Right.
I think to myself, wow, like they're kind of fucking all those people over, just because they couldn't, because like they're like really like making things shitty for everybody, all because they they messed up somewhere along the way. Probably, or usually like they messed up somewhere along the way. Anyways, so you can only go back in time once. So like whatever you do the second time, or like when you go back in time, that's just what happens from now on.
Okay.
That's the new reality.
Okay.
So if you mess up, then you don't get to fix it a second time. Basically,
okay.
You don't get to go back and try again to fix it. So that's like what I meant with the hypothetical when we were talking about the potential of the butterfly effect versus just the universe rating itself.
Derek, if I'm really trying to change the wedding, I'm gonna make sure I put a little more effort than what I did to make sure I actually change it.
You can certainly try more plans. It's just so let's say you start by just adding your name onto the invite list, and someone sees it who's going through and getting the invites ready and goes, oh, that's not supposed to be there, erase, and that's the end of that.
Right.
Essentially, in that scenario, I would say the universe has just righted itself, and that's it.
Right.
It's corrected itself. It's back on course for the original a series of events. You were like 0% closer to your goal.
Well, yeah, but Derek, like I said, I'm just gonna make sure that I put a little. I'm a little better at what I'm doing.
Well, what I was gonna say is,
yeah, I died.
In this situation though, there is actually if you try again, then if you say like, well, I'm not gonna stop there, I'm gonna try again, then you might you might allow the butterfly effect to persist more. You give it a chance to continue.
Derek,
because what you do then,
I wouldn't just stop at the little invitation thing in the first place. Like I would do a little better than that.
Well, you might not, but someone else might.
Right, but
it's what.
Not even. I feel like that's
I'm saying
pretty weak
if you
plan.
did stop.
I don't know.
Zinker, if you did stop right there, then the universe has righted itself, and you just continue on, events will likely continue as they were.
Right.
more or less, with the exception of your attitude has changed. So, like, in which case you can still take, leading up to the wedding, you can still take steps to change the course of because like, let's say you went back in time as soon as the wedding was done. So, leading up to the wedding, you could still take actions that were different than your previous ones. In which case they might write themselves again, or the butterfly effect could take place after, or as a result. But the once the wedding's done, then you're just back to you're essentially, if you do everything in the exact same after they erased your name off, then you've essentially changed nothing, and the universe just fixed itself. However, let's say you're like, well, I'm not gonna
So Derek,
take that. I'm gonna.
no, not even.
Yeah.
Derek, I'll even just leave it at the wedding invitation thing. Still, all right. So this is my ex, right? We were in love at one point, but then you know, we were. She's trying to marry this other guy, right? You're not considering. So let's say she's the one who erases my name off the list, because she's the one who's going through all the invitees and stuff like that. She's the one doing all this. She has to erase my name. She could be up there at the altar where she normally, that could play back in her mind over and over again that she saw my name on there, and that she could hesitantly erase my name because that, you know, obviously she's marrying this other guy and doesn't want me to be there. She'd be standing there at the altar, and where she previously said I do, the fact that she erased my name could change everything. She could be like, she could be thinking there and be like, holy shit, I don't want to be with this guy anymore. I don't want to be with him at all, actually. I really want to be with Zinker. And like, just that one small act changes exactly how that plays out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. In which case, in this scenario, it depends on who's checking the list of which.
Santa, and he's checking it twice.
You result in the butterfly effect, or. Well.
Got him.
Jokes aside, your situation relies on the bride checking it. It's very possible, like, maybe she asks a friend for help. The friend sees it and is like, ooh, I can't let her know about this. I can't let her see this on there. This clearly was supposed to be here. I'll just take this off, and thinks nothing of it.
But then, even then, there's always that chance that friend messes it up and mentions it. That she took it off, and that really screws up the bride.
If you live in a sitcom, then yes.
Could lead to a divorce. Not even just to a sitcom, Derek. So, some people, they might just let that sort of thing slip.
The potential, Zinker, the potential for both situations, for both the butterfly effect or for just the universe to write itself, exists in both. In like, the potential for both to happen exists in this situation.
Right. Derek, I'm gonna be honest with you right now. What is this discussion?
Yeah. I don't know either. I really don't. I was just curious of your thought of like what your thoughts were on like the potential, like if like in the event of time travel, if changing small things is more likely to result in the universe just writing itself, or the butterfly effect where everything ends up fucky because of one small thing. I was just curious which one what you think is likely to happen, is more likely to happen.
Oh, the butterfly
in like small
effect.
scenarios, and then I proposed this hypothetical question, in which case you clearly seem to take the side of the butterfly effect. So yeah. I got my answer. I was able to infer my answer, but I figured I still wanted to pitch the side of like the potential of just nothing happening.
Well,
nothing changing.
That is in itself the effect of a butterfly effect. Like, nothing changing is just an outcome that you can't control. Think about it this way, Derek. If you go back in time and you specifically tried to change something and nothing changed, that was because you had no control over it, just like a butterfly effect. Because that's the whole theory. Well, that's more chaos theory, I guess.
In Zinker, in both situations, you really don't have control over what the end result is. You just do your best. You can just manipulate what you can manipulate what happens along the way, but you really don't have a choice of what the end result is, because you know it's usually unpredictable what'll happen.
Whoa. Oh, what are you gonna say? Okay,
like,
manual override. That's so much more. So like
let's say let's take an example of Back to the Future. If you go back in time, and with knowledge of sports bets, and you throw a ton of money on a sports bet, your money being put on there will change, or will likely change the payout to everybody, because the way sports bets generally work is if everybody's putting money on one specific person to win, the payout's going to be very little, because like everybody's putting their money on them. You can result in other people getting less money, which could then have an impact to them, which could change some future event by them having less money. Similarly, it could.
You have more money.
You also have more money, which you can do something with. But we're not. I think for these effects, it's usually you aren't focusing on the person who went back in time. You're focusing on everybody else. What the results of their actions were. To everybody else, not just them. Because like they're directly, usually when someone goes back in time, they're directly taking action to benefit, they're taking action to accomplish a goal. And if other things can result of it, usually I think you don't focus on what's happening to them, you focus on what's happening to everybody else when determining if the universe righted itself, or like the butterfly effect happened. Because they have more direct control over the events that happen to them, but the butterfly effect is more of like a chaos effect of just events things cascading that they don't control.
Really what we're talking about here is chaos theory, not the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect merely is just an explanation to how one small thing could lead to a bunch of different things, like to a wildly different thing happening. Chaos theory is more. They're like very close to the same thing, but chaos theory is more like you have no control. So you changing this one outcome completely changes how everything is.
Yeah, it's like if you were to go get a lottery ticket before someone else, then not only are you getting or like if you were to, let's say lottery ticket's a bad choice. Like let's say you were going to get everybody, like let's say you get in a line to get a random non-sequential non-repeating lottery ticket, where you get a lottery ticket, and then someone else gets a number, or whoever's like behind you gets a lottery ticket, but they have different numbers and they'll never repeat the numbers. If you get in front of someone else, let's say you go back in time, you know exactly who normally gets it, who's going to get the winning ticket, and you hop in front of them. I could have probably picked a better explanation for this. Then you'll get the ticket, and then they won't, which is like what chaos theory is that.
Well,
I don't know why I started
chaos
explaining
theory,
that.
Derek, is you get in the line, you buy that ticket, and you still don't win, because that act in its own could change what numbers are picked. It's true.
Well,
I think the
numbers changing, Zinker, the numbers being picked, changing, would be more of a result of the butterfly effect. That's more likely to occur because of the butterfly effect. If you, just because of how they're picked. Like it's still gonna get. There's still like most likely you buying a lottery ticket is not going to adjust or change what the numbers.
No, it very well could. Though, like it could.
Based off the nature of how lottery ticket. Well, I'm saying based off the nature of how lottery tickets are picked.
Well, alright, so chaos theories you have no control over. Butterfly effect is you buying that lottery ticket could change what lottery is called. That's how it is. That's just how it works. I mean, it might not work that way. It just might work that way. That's the whole theory behind chaos theory and butterfly effect. Butterfly effect is no matter how small your decision is, it might royally fuck stuff up, and chaos theory is you have no control over what happens when you change something. Which is why time travel is usually a bad idea. In theory.
I feel like time travel is just a neutral idea.
Well, in theory, it's a bad idea.
Unless you have the intent to ruin things, I feel like time travel is just like a neutral idea.
No, because
chaos. So the chaos theory can result in an improvement, or it could result in making things worse. In movies, always portray it as making things worse.
No, but Derek, the thing is, chaos theory means you have no control. Like, Derek, if you press a red button, alright, and you don't know what it does, you obviously have no real control over what happens, besides not pressing the button. Alright, but whether it's a good or bad intent, it's a bad idea to press the button, because you could blow up.
Well, I could also solve world hunger with the button.
Yeah.
That could be the solve world hunger button.
You don't even
know the risk reward. That's why it's a neutral idea.
You don't even know the risk reward you're going for. You're just putting up a risk with no idea if there's a reward or not. You can't argue.
The risk is everything, and the reward is everything.
No,
it's neutral.
You don't know. You don't know if there is a reward. But there's always a risk.
Okay, Zinker, how about this? You know Schrodinger's cat?
Yeah? He's a good buddy of mine.
Is it a bad idea to open the box?
Derek, he's fine. We already opened the box. He's out of it.
Is it a bad idea or a neutral idea? Because we don't know if it's dead. We don't we don't know if it's dead or alive. If it's alive, let's say we want to have a cat friend, and we don't want to see a dead cat. If we open the box, we could get a cat friend, or we could just see a dead cat and be sad.
Well, it's a bad idea because you don't have to open the box. You don't have to risk.
Yes, but what if I want
seeing the dead cat? Sure, if your friend doesn't want to see a dead cat, and you know there's a 50% chance of a dead cat being in the box, why would you open the box, Derek? Why would you?
If they want,
your friend's gonna suffer huge PTSD from seeing a dead cat. But you might make a friend, so you can open the box on the small chance that, the 50% chance that cat's alive.
Chance.
But you might psychologically scar them by seeing the dead cat. But it's a neutral idea, even though you could just not open the box, which does absolutely nothing to your friend.
You're completely ignoring the positive, though, of what if it's a good, what if the cat's alive and then they get a cat friend.
Right, Derek.
Then only good has resulted from opening it. That's why it's a neutral decision.
They don't need a cat friend.
I'm not scarring them.
Unless they're gonna die from cancer, unless they make a new cat friend, there is no reason you should be opening that box if there's a 50% chance of them being upset at seeing the dead cat. You cannot open the box. You don't have to risk it.
Okay, but if I open I don't have to risk it, but that doesn't. Along with risking it, it's still neutral to open it because there's a chance it could be a live cat too.
No, it's not neutral.
In which case,
you're opening the box and your friend is upset. Or your friend
Zinker,
could be upset. Sorry,
Zinker.
your friend might not be upset,
Okay.
but you're needlessly chancing that your friend will get upset.
Harm? But where's the harm if I open the box and my friend is not upset? With my
none. You got lucky and you
my
didn't
friend
harm your friend. Derek, all right. If I press a button and the button may cause someone to punch you, 50% chance, and I press the button, if nothing happens to you, do you go, oh, okay, well, that's fine? Or do you get pissed like, alright, but there's a 50% chance it could have punched
Zinker,
me? Why'd you press the fucking button, you dick?
You're ignoring the potential, because you're ignoring the potential for reward here, too. If there's a 50% chance I get punched, or there's a 50% chance I get a sandwich, then
but
there's
Derek,
potential for reward, too.
Here,
That's why it's a neutral decision.
Let me paint what's wrong with your Schrodinger's cat analogy here. The problem is, we're making this decision for your friend. You are assuming your friend wants the reward for the cat, and you don't have any right. So, needlessly taking that action, is arguably negative, because you are making a presumption that your friend would want to take that 50% chance. So, it doesn't work if it's for your friend. If you're talking about yourself, then you opening the box might be neutral in that situation. It would be neutral because not even. It's not neutral. It's either good or bad. You just don't know which one it is until you open the box. I wouldn't say it's neutral. It's just you don't know
time travel,
what it is.
Time travel itself.
Hold on. Even you describe it as neutral. Going back to my original thing, where you go and press a button, you are needlessly taking a risk for not just yourself, but for possibly others that you don't know, even though you don't know what that button does. And that's assuming it's weighted equally, where there's an equal reward to an equal risk. You don't even know. You know nothing about this button. You just went and pressed it.
Give me a moment to just tell you why I said it's an even chance.
We have to go to the next episode. I'm just standing here in front of this guy. We're just the argument central, guys. Bye.